Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name's Andrew from Team Respawn, and today I'm going to be talking about a deleted scene in Halo Wars 2 that never made it into the game. Now, I already made a video talking about this deleted scene, and I've kind of thought about it and looked back at this picture, and I think there's a little bit more that I can do better talking about this image, because really the only thing I talked about in the previous video was the people in the picture, regardless of what was around them in the picture. So I think I'm going to try and do a little bit better on that and be a little bit more speculative on when this would show up in the game and kind of really what's going on here. So I'm going to throw the image on the screen and in the description if you want to check it out. This was an image released by a artist that was working with Blur Studio and Warden Light Studio for the artwork for Halo Wars 2, and this was supposed to be in the game, but they say it's still one of their favorite scenes that they've created. And it's really, really interesting because this has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Halo Wars 2. And it's pretty interesting because I think this is really going to hit on some good character development, but the question is, who are they developing for the characters? So if you look a little bit closely in the center of the image, you'll see a boy and an adult kind of standing by a desk, and if you zoom in a little bit further, there's a book, and I can't tell if the boy's looking at the book or looking at the adult, and vice versa with the adult there sitting in the chair. And you can see that this looks to be like some sort of an attic or like a cabin or something. And hanging from the ceiling, you see that there is a UNSC banner, but it looks to be a little bit damaged. On the right-hand side, you see a Pelican and a Banshee. And then further on back, I think that's another Pelican and some sort of a UNSC frigate or some sort of big transporting ship. And it gets a little bit more in detail when it gets to the image of the kid and the adult zoomed in. And then on the left side, you see some sort of elite sword kind of leaning up against the wall. And then on the right side, you can see that there's some sort of like a trophy case with a bunch of frames all across the wall there on the right side. And then there's also, it appears to be the UNSC logo again hanging on the wall. And then, of course, there's a lot of boxes in this attic as well. So there's a lot going on in this picture, and I think that's pretty cool. And so I have some kind of ideas on who is in the picture here. I think Ed made a really good point in his video, and if you want to check Ed's video out, I'll put it in the description. He thinks it's Captain Cutter and his son, which I didn't even know Captain Cutter had a son, and if you look up into the lore a little bit, it turns out he did. His son is Daniel Clayton, and he was a UNSC captain as well, but he kind of turned into an insurrectionist and was fighting against the UNSC. So, and it says that he only met his father once. So this could be that meeting, but I'm a little confused why they would put this in Halo Wars 2, because Daniel, Cutter's son isn't related to the story at all. So this may be some development on Captain Cutter, but I feel like with a scene like this, with the lighting, it's the lamp is shining extremely bright into the room, and it's kind of reflecting off the beams in the top and stuff. I would like to think that this is some sort of a flashback. So part of me thinks that this scene is focused on the child and not necessarily the adult, and that might make sense from the toys or the diagrams or models of the Banshee and the Pelicans hanging from the ceiling. That would be more suited to a child, I would say, than an adult. And it could be just the way that this picture is angled. The Banshee seems to be hanging pretty low, which would make sense for a child, but not for a grown-up. But again, this very well could be a grown-up space as well, due to the UNSC flag hanging from the ceiling and all of the trophies or frames on the right-hand side of the wall. A few other speculations I have from the people in this picture. It could be Forge and his son. Maybe this could have been something at the beginning of the game where maybe it picks off immediately where Halo Wars 1 is, and it's Forge, protecting the bomb at the end of Halo Wars 1. And maybe this could be some sort of flashback he had with him and his father. I'm really not sure if there's any lore surrounding Forge's father at all, or Forge himself. Maybe that could have been the case, right before he died, and then it kind of cuts to everyone waking up on the Spirit of Fire. That's definitely a possibility. This could be Cutter and his father. Cutter could be the child here. But Ed made a good point in his video. He was saying that doesn't make any sense due to the Banshee hanging from the ceiling and the sword leaning up against the wall. This could be Cutter and his grandchild after the war. And so I think this is either going to be a flashback or a flash forward. And if this is going to be a flash forward, I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, because if you're looking at the grown-up there in the picture, you can see he's wearing, looks like steel-toe boots, and looks like his jeans have some tears on the bottom by his feet, and he seems to be like a pretty in-shape dude from looking at his back. So I don't think that would be Cutter as a flash forward with his grandson. Another idea I had that I think would be a very logical thing was maybe somewhere along the game in Halo Wars 2, something bad happened to Captain Cutter, whether the Spirit of Fire was attacked or he was on the ground or something of that sort, and maybe he blacked out, or maybe he was about to die or something like that, and he had some sort of a dream or a vision into the future or into the past, and maybe this entire thing is completely made up. Maybe Captain Cutter was supposed to be killed off, and this is Captain Cutter as a grown-up sitting in the chair here, kind of just talking about everything that he has accomplished in the war, either as a parent or a grandparent to the child there. Maybe that's not even his child. Maybe that's just some random kid. Maybe he could be some sort of a professor after the war's over, and this is some child that he's teaching what happened in the war for history purposes, because I could very well see that due to all the trophies and things hanging up on the wall, and I really don't think that that would be family members hanging up on the wall, because I don't think you would want to hang pictures of your family member up in some sort of attic. I just don't think that's very logical. So I think I could see this going either way. It could focus either on the grown-up in the picture or the kid. I'm really not so sure. Part of me wants to think that this is more in the future than in the past, due to the banner hanging down. I didn't even notice that the first time I made the video, so that's why I'm kind of changing my opinion on where this is taking place and when this is taking place. I would really like to know when in the game this cutscene happens. I really would like to think that the storyline for Halo Wars 2 is a little bit different, and they were going to kill someone off, like Cutter, and this would be some sort of vision he had right before he died or right after he died or something. This could very well be Jerome in the picture, but again, as Ed said in his video, that's unlikely due to everything in the room. Also, another thing that I think is strange, if that's a sword hanging on the left side of the wall, in cutscenes and everything like that, the swords aren't extended when they're turned off. And if they're turned on, they have like the lightsaber effect where they kind of just cut through everything. So maybe that's not a sword. Maybe that's like a replica of an energy sword. And it's pretty tall too, so that kind of fits the bill. So there's a lot going on in this picture. That's all I'm going to say. Leave you with that. And also take note of UNSC branding on a lot of the boxes in the room as well. Anyway, if you want to see the image and have a look for it for yourself, I'll post a link in the video description. If you want to see Ed's opinions, I'll drop a link to his video in the description as well. And post your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear what you have to think about who is in this photo, when it's taking place in the game, and your speculative opinions. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn, and I'll see you next time.